Back in the 90s, a wave of educational campaigns dominated pop culture, and none stood out quite like the Incredible Crash Dummies. Originally created to promote car safety awareness, these crash test dummy mascots soon exploded into a fully fledged franchise, spawning toys, cartoons, and yes, even video games. One of the most notable was the Incredible Crash Dummies for the NES, a quirky and challenging platformer that remains an interesting relic of the 8-bit era. Released in 1993 and developed by Grey Matter, the game combined unique mechanics, an offbeat sense of humor, and a timely message. Despite its niche appeal, the Incredible Crash Dummies gained a dedicated fanbase and holds a special place in NES history. The concept originated as a U.S. Department of Transportation safety campaign in the late 1980s. These animated crash test dummies, Vince and Larry, humorously demonstrated the dangers of not wearing seatbelts, delivering an impactful safety message that resonated with audiences. Toy company Tyco took note of their popularity and licensed the characters, creating a line of action figures in 1991. With the toys selling well and a full multimedia franchise in motion, a video game tie-in was the next logical step. Grey Matter, a Canadian game developer known for Days of Thunder and Captain Planet, was tasked with creating the Incredible Crash Dummies for multiple platforms, including the NES. Despite the hardware limitations of the aging NES, Grey Matter managed to deliver a game that captured the humor and spirit of the franchise while offering unique gameplay. Released in 1993, it was one of the last officially licensed titles for the NES, as the industry was transitioning to 16-bit consoles like the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. This placed the game in an awkward position, as many players had already moved on to newer systems. The plot is as lighthearted and zany as the franchise itself. In the game, the titular dummies must rescue their kidnapped friends from the clutches of Junkman, a sinister villain who has taken over a junkyard. Junkman plans to dismantle the dummies and use their parts for his evil schemes, and it's up to the player to stop him. The game's story doesn't take itself too seriously, embracing the slapstick humor and self-aware tone that define the Crash Dummies brand. It is a side-scrolling platformer with a twist. Players control one of the dummies, navigating through various levels filled with obstacles, enemies, and hazards. True to the theme, taking damage results in the dummy losing body parts. Arms and legs can fall off as the player takes hits, which affects movement and abilities. For example, losing a leg slows your movement. Losing an arm prevents you from throwing items. This mechanic adds a layer of strategy, as players must carefully manage their health to avoid being reduced to a helpless torso. The game features a range of environments, including a junkyard, construction sites, factories filled with conveyor belts, crushers, and other dangers. Each level is packed with platforming challenges, enemies like rogue machines and flying tools, and clever puzzles. The game's difficulty is steep, requiring precise timing and careful navigation. To help players, the game includes power-ups such as replacement limbs and wrenches that restore health. There are also vehicles to ride, like cars and rockets, which add variety to the gameplay. While the NES version is one of the most well-known, the Incredible Crash Dummies was also released on the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and Game Boy. Each version had its own unique features, but the NES version stood out for its creative adaptation to 8-bit hardware. Despite being a commercial product, the game never forgot its educational origins. The Crash Dummies franchise maintained a strong emphasis on promoting safety, and the game subtly reinforced these themes with its humorous portrayal of consequences for reckless behavior. While not a blockbuster hit, the game has gained a cult following among retro gaming enthusiasts. Its quirky mechanics, challenging gameplay, and connection to a unique cultural phenomenon have made it a topic of interest for collectors and streamers. As one of the final games released for the NES, it represents the tail end of the console's life cycle. Its impressive graphics and creative gameplay were a testament to how developers had mastered the hardware by the early 90s. At the time of release, it received mixed reviews. Critics praised its humor and innovative mechanics, but criticized its steep difficulty and occasional control issues. However, the game's unique charm and nostalgic appeal have helped it endure as a memorable title in the NES library. The Incredible Crash Dummies for the NES is a fascinating piece of gaming history, blending a public safety message with the fun and challenge of a classic platformer. Its clever mechanics, offbeat humor, and ties to a beloved 90s franchise make it a standout in the NES catalog. If you're a fan of retro gaming or just curious about one of the quirkiest games of the 8-bit era, this is one you won't want to miss. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into gaming's most unexpected gems.